Welcome to Video Village. I'm Mihir and today we're talking about everything everywhere all at once. Later in the episode, we'll be drafting our favorite movies about parenthood. Joining me today is my good friend Priya Kosana. Thanks for being here, Priya.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So this is your favorite movie of 2022, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it the best movie of the year?
I guess it depends on what your definition of best movie of the year is, but I wouldn't say it's the best crafted film of the year, but it's my favorite. It's my best movie of the year.
Yeah, I think it's mine too. I'm not really sure yet because there's a couple that are up there, but I just remember the feeling I got when I left the theater, being like, okay, that was the most original movie I've seen in, I don't know, a couple of years at least. And
yeah,
you just leave the movie theater with that feeling of I love movies, I love life after some movies. I had it a couple times this year, but this was the first time, and it's I think it's the most nuanced time because there's themes in the movie that we can get into later, but that just left me being wow, I need to call my parents. I need to make changes in my life right now.
Yeah, totally. Even watching the movie with friends, I was crying at the end of the movie, being I need to spend more quality time with my friends. I feel like it really helped me contextualize my life at the time, and I really liked it. I thought it was the right amount of fun while still being relevant to people's lives and while still also being universal enough to where anybody could watch it and be there are themes in here that are that I can apply to my life.
I don't think we're alone in thinking that it's a very powerful movie despite it being a really small movie.
Yeah.
A ton of people watched it. It had a budget of I think 25 million and it grossed over 100 million. I think it's A24's highest grossing movie. I think Hereditary was the highest grossing movie. It came out in 2018, but this passed it in just a year. So yeah, I think it's really, really popular for a good reason. Tell me give me a rundown of highlights. Give me a highlight reel of the movie. What were some of your favorite moments?
When Evelyn is talking to Wayman and at the beginning of the movie, and she kind of blows him off as not being resourceful enough, and him just kind of it's so clear that he's the glue of the family. That started the tears. And then I think my favorite moment of the entire movie is when the mom and Evelyn and her daughter are having a conversation about how much they value each other, but they're rocks. That part, I was really sobbing. I was really sobbing. And I looked over.
That part was crazy.
Yeah. And I looked over and Abbas and Michael were both sitting beside me. And they were also sobbing. And I was okay, this is universally this is hitting everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just I think the music cuts out for that whole scene and it's just silent. And maybe you hear the wind of the mountains or something.
Yeah.
But in such a crazy and stimulating movie, for it to just cut everything and have this raw moment, I think that was really effective. Probably the most memed part of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most memeable movies of the year.
What were your favorite moments?
I had a couple. I think right at the very start of the movie when you're watching the security cameras and you see Wayman just spring up and start to jump around the laundromat, mm-hmm. and then come go back to normal as soon as maybe Evelyn comes back downstairs or something. It was just this I got chills because I was just I don't know what this movie is, but this movie's gonna be batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just smiling the whole time. I was I don't know what's going on, but I'm already super sold.
So you didn't know anything about it going into the movie?
I didn't know anything. I knew that it was like a sci-fi movie of sorts, and that it was like about the Asian American life. That's all I knew. Like I didn't know anything. I also didn't really put it together that it's by the Daniels. I haven't seen Swiss Army Man, which I think is like their next most famous movie.
I think it's their only other movie. And I think they've filmed some like music videos.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's crazy. I can't believe this is their second movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Well, yeah. I see. I like knew of Swiss Army Man, and I haven't watched that movie, but I know that it's like Daniel Radcliffe plays a farting corpse.
Yeah.
So I think if I knew that going in, I would have expected something insane and something like crazy and silly. But I'm almost glad I didn't, because it was just like crazy things just kept happening one after the other. And I was just like having fun. Like they could have done anything on screen and I would have been like, yep, that sounds good to me. Which they kind of did. Like they kind of just did it whatever they wanted.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Did your parents watch this movie and what did they think about it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I just talked to my mom yesterday and I was like, you should watch this movie because I was thinking about this podcast. And my sister saw it last week for the first time. Mm-hmm. And she really liked it. And I almost wish that they watched it together because it's a very powerful, like, parent-child movie to watch.
Yeah, and it's a very powerful mother-daughter movie, too, I feel like. That, like, relationship is so, I don't know, it's special. And, like, they really, like, portray it so well.
Definitely. Other movies that come to mind are, like, Lady Bird, which kind of did the same thing.
Yeah, but that's, like, a white girl. That's different. Because she's like, I want to go to New York and be an artist. Like, that wouldn't fly. These people got it right. But I have to say, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for your parents to watch it. I'm excited to hear about what their reaction will be. But my parents watched it, and they watched it with some of their friends who are also, like, brown parents. And they all hated it. And I was the one who kind of, like, was telling them to watch it. And I was, like, really encouraging them to like go to the theaters, and I was like, you all will love it. Like I would especially told my mom, my mom usually doesn't like these like filmy A24 type movies, but I was like, no, this one you'll really like. And they went and watched it and they were all like, what was that? That was horrible. Because I think they were able to like move past the way in which the story was told. So they like didn't even give it a chance. When they saw those hot dog fingers come out, they were like, oh, we're done. We're not even going to give this a chance.
Yeah, I think the absurdity, like the absurdist aspect of the movie catches a lot of people off guard who like, I honestly think that if they watched it in March, they wouldn't have been so tough on it. But it's tough because now it's like, it has 11 Academy Award nominations. People think it's going to win Best Picture. So obviously you come into a movie like this thinking it's going to be something that like fits the framework of that.
Yeah.
And it like so clearly doesn't. It's like unlike anything that's ever been made before in that sense. That sucks though. I wish that I think a lot of people have that issue of like they don't understand what they're seeing, and so they can't connect to the themes and they can't connect to what's going on behind all the craziness.
Exactly.
And did they, I'm assuming your parents and their friends didn't watch it in theaters, right?
They didn't watch it in theaters. No, they like bought it and watched it. They watched it in like their home theater or whatever.
See, like I have a home theater at my like home in North Carolina, and it's like great for like watching movies in general. Like it gives you like next to the theatrical experience. But I tell everyone that like having to force yourself to not talk to your neighbor during a movie, but being in the actual theater, I think makes such a big difference. Like there's a lot of reasons why a movie like this works in theaters, but I think the biggest asset is like you can't turn to the guy on the couch next to you and be like, what the hell is going on every 6 seconds?
Yeah.
Because
then some like polarization happens. Like if everybody's like, oh, what's going on? Then like your opinion just starts moving towards one end or the other very easily, I feel like.
One of my pet peeves about like watching a movie with anybody is like somebody like being so turned off by the movie and making it known while it's still going on. Like, oh, this is stupid. Oh, this is like really dumb. Like I'm just like, you can think that. We can talk about it in like 25 minutes when the movie's over. Just like, let me, like, what if I loved it? And I'm like, well, I actually thought it was my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's dumb. I guess I'm dumb too. I don't know. It's just like not a fun experience. But yeah, I wish everybody, I'm thinking that like maybe if this does really well at the Oscars, knock on wood, that maybe it'll like get another run at theaters or something.
Yeah. I think it might be, it's still playing in one of our theaters, like in North Carolina by my house. Because I was talking to my mom and she was like, yeah, somebody went to the theaters the other day and watched it. Like my sister's friends. Yeah.
Maybe it's like one of those like independent film theaters.
Yeah, it's one of those like filmy theaters. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least that's good that we'll probably have to go to one of those. Yeah, I guess I doubt AMC is going to show it again.
No, yeah.
Well, a couple like tidbits I wanted to talk about. Casting what ifs. I guess like casting in general. Let's talk about casting first. What did you think about the cast as a whole and like specific people? Any people you want to shout out?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that the character that kind of affected me the most was, I think his name is Ki Hee Kwan's character. And I think he did the best job of, I don't know, being so loving, and he was like an action like superhero for most of the movie, but he still had that like kernel of being a dad. I loved his character. I think by far he was the highlight performance for me.
Yeah, I agree. I loved him as well. Everything with him saying that, in another world, I would love to do laundry and taxes with you, or whatever that quote is. Like that was just like, oh man. Like I think it like washed over me in the theater, and then when I left the theater, I was like, damn, he really said that, huh? Like it was just a really like very powerful thing. And I think you're right. Like all of the initial fight sequences in the IRS agency that they were in, that was really cool with him. I thought everybody was really good. Like even Jamie Lee Curtis, who I feel like probably gets the least praise for this movie just because it's, she's like, I guess she plays the villain technically, but she's not really the villain. I thought she was really good. Like she had like really good comedic timing in a lot of those like agency scenes. And she also was like kind of scary for a good part of the movie. I was like kind of like, dang, this girl is actually going to kill Michelle Yeoh. I mean, everybody was good. I think we should talk about Michelle Yeoh a little bit. Did you have a relationship with Michelle Yeoh before this movie at all?
I mean, beyond seeing her in Crazy Rich Asians and Shang-Chi, no, I was not like, I think there are a lot of people that are like big fans of her from like older movies like Crouching Dragon, Hidden Tiger, whatever it's called.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But yeah, I did not have that sort of like long-standing relationship with her. Actually, though, I was kind of obsessed with her when I was younger because she is married to like one of the greatest F1 drivers of all time. So,
who is it?
Jean Todt. He's a French F1 driver. Now he's like CEO of F1. So now he's like moved into the business space. So that's the only like, I was like, oh yeah, so he's married to this hot actress. And he's like a tiny little man. He is not an conventionally attractive man. But
our short king.
Yeah.
Leveling up in this world.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, beyond that, nothing. What about you?
No, I didn't either. I haven't seen the original Mummy movies, which she was also in.
Oh my god, she was in the original Mummy movies? Wait. I don't
know if they're like the original. I don't know if there were ones before that, but like they came out in like the late,
like the Brendan 90s. Fraser ones.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was in those. Wait, I used to love those movies. Okay.
So I guess maybe you did. Maybe you just like fell in love with her without realizing that you fell in love with her. It sounds like you kind of did.
Maybe. But no, I was too in love with Brendan Fraser in those movies.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. She like, I think people had like a really good relationship with her coming into this movie in general, and like obviously if we were older, I'm sure we would have been more familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She was like really, really good, like incredible.
Yeah.
Like I like can't think of anyone else out there who could do this role
Yeah.
of like there are like Asian a ton of like Asian actresses out there, but I think you need somebody in this lead role that like has that past relationship with the audience so that you can like relate to her as like somebody you've seen before in American movies. Because like I feel like the audience needs to be grounded in her even a little bit, given how crazy the movie is. And like besides Jamie Lee Curtis, like Ki Kwan, this is his first movie back since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And like Stephanie Hsu, who we've virtually not seen before. So I think you really need somebody who is like a bona fide movie star in this role.
Yeah, I think it also legitimizes it a little bit. Like, going back to like how my parents were feeling, the reason why they kind of went was because they knew Michelle Yeoh's name. So like she kind of will draw people in and also give the movie a chance. Because if you're watching it from the beginning, you're like, whoa, it's crazy. But in the back of your mind, you might be like, oh, well, if a big movie star like Michelle Yeoh is making this movie, it can't just be like some gimmick. Like there has to be some sort of storyline. So you might stick it out a little bit longer than you normally would.
Yeah. Another tidbit I found on Wikipedia is that the voice of the raccoon, the raccoon Tootie, whatever the name was, he was like voiced by Randy Newman, who is a composer who like composed a lot of the music for like Pixar movies. Mm-hmm. And I think they just thought it would be funny if they like got like a bona fide Pixar guy to like voice this insane like I don't even know, this like crack pipe Ratatouille character. I just thought that was really funny. I feel like they just do things just to like make themselves laugh at this point.
Yeah, like he did Toy Story, right? That's like the only thing I know him
Toy
from. Story. That is fun. I do love that raccoon. That was like a very cute. Those like little offshoot storylines were what like saved me from literally being emotional through the entire movie. Like they, I think, imbued the movie with a lot of comedic like energy that was much needed in the middle of that movie.
Yeah, because it gets pretty dark. It gets very like, you know, I saw like in an interview or written somewhere that like the Daniels were trying to convince people to not succumb to like the nihilism that is very prevalent in our generation, because I guess they are millennials, and I thought that was really interesting because I think that Gen Z gets this like rep as not caring about anything, which is like true and false, I think. But this is probably the first movie that I've seen that tackled, I guess, first movie I've seen recently that has like tackled themes that Gen Z is talking about very openly, about like nothing matters and like what do I even care about, and like what is the purpose if nothing matters, and all these like very like existential questions. Don't get me wrong, like every generation has existential crises or crises. I don't know how you say that. But the way that it was presented here was very like, I mean, the daughter is like very clearly a Gen Z character.
Yeah.
And it takes place in a world where like Gen Zers can interact with and recognize very, very well. What did you think about that? Do you think that as like a young person, and I'm curious like if your sister saw it as well. I know you have a younger sister as well. Like, do you think that this movie kind of sets a precedent for Gen Z movies, or do you think that we could do more, we could do better with Gen Z movies?
I was so sucked in by the familial relationships that are depicted in the movie that until now I don't think I really considered how like nihilistic the Stephanie Hsu character is, and how that's like the root cause of a lot of the breaks in the relationship between the mother and the daughter. I agree with you. I don't think I've seen a movie that has tackled that in a long time. And I think that that's beyond like familial relationships in society. You're right. Like those issues, especially with like our generation growing up in a pandemic and in like a climate crisis and these huge, big like issues that no one person will be able to solve with their actions. Like It's true that I've never seen a movie like that. But I don't know if I could compare it to any other movie because I've never really seen one. So I don't know if they're doing the best job, but it was very like validating, I think, to see it, especially with the like donut metaphor that they use to explain it. I think that it like really made it very comprehensible what they were trying to convey. And, you know, it was still entertaining. It still had that everything everywhere all at once energy and that flair. But I think that it was a great depiction of like some of the issues that using that donut metaphor was a great depiction of some of the issues that Gen Z deals with. My sister didn't watch it, but she's watched TikToks of it, so she knows what it's about. And she's interested in watching it, but yeah, I don't know if those themes would resonate with her. I think that she's still hopeful. She's 15 years old.
All right. Well, I'll reconnect with her in a couple of years.
Yeah.
When she's like a freshman in college.
And she's like, what does everything mean? Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. I wish I could talk to more like young people about this movie. Because I think obviously like people in the film industry are mostly older. So the conversations are very rooted in like their understanding of it. But I feel like in like 20 years, this movie might become a classic of sorts for our generation. Something we look back on and we're like, man, we really had it good in 2022 with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't know. I think this movie is almost, okay, I want to talk about the like rating of this movie in the context of the Oscars. Are you like into the Oscars at all this year?
You know, I haven't watched as many movies as I usually do related to the Oscars, but I mean, I'll definitely tune in. I've watched a couple of them and I'm trying to catch up, but I haven't watched as much as I usually do. I don't know why. I think I'm getting like awards fatigue or whatever. Not that I'm in the movie industry or anything, but
yeah, I mean, they talk about it for like 7 months before the Oscars actually happen. Like, I feel like we've been hearing about Brendan Fraser in The Whale.
And Tar, like Cate Blanchett in Tar, like for a year now.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to briefly, I won't like dig into it then, but I want to briefly say that like, I think a general fear of mine is that any movie that wins Best Picture it's always like studied more. It's always kind of like scrutinized a lot more than the other nominees, obviously, which like kind of, it makes sense and is deserved. If you're going to hold the title, then you should be, I guess, critiqued as such. I think that this movie is probably considered a frontrunner still. It's been the frontrunner, I think, the entire time. There's a couple movies that like could sneak up from behind and like take the title. I guess I just want to say that like my fear is that if this movie wins, that people are going to say it's overrated and people are going to say it's like it doesn't deserve the mantle over something that's like more serious and rooted in something more like, I don't know, traditionally an Oscar movie, or just even traditionally like something that you can look at and say is a serious movie.
Yeah.
Which to those people I say, hogwash. This is like, I don't know. I change is good. Like change in the movie industry is good. If we like Parasite won 3 years ago, which is like insane. And I think since then the Best Picture winners have been like pretty traditional. We had like Nomadland and then we had Coda.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to like changing things up and getting more exciting movies that people actually care about.
Yeah.
And connect to more than like a couple of weeks into the mix. So yeah, I'm just hoping out loud that it wins, but it's also not considered an overrated picture like the day after the Oscars.
Yeah, that's true. In the last few last 2 years, I have watched the movie after it won the award and been like, this isn't even that good. So I feel like that treatment you do get that treatment when you win a big award like that. But I think the nice part about this movie is that it's not about an experience. It's about like it's a character driven movie. And I think that having that sort of plot line where like the experiences of the characters are just to build their, build out their personalities and build out their relationships with others. It's much harder to be like, this doesn't even matter, because you have to relate to them. There's no way that you watch that entire movie and you don't relate to those characters. Also, I was thinking about your earlier point about Gen Z, and I was realizing that no other movie I've ever seen has depicted a teenager and like had the teenager only interact with their parents and not really villainized the teenager. And this was the first time that I really watched a movie where she's still a brat, but she has a reason to be a brat. And I don't know, you're right. Like that's been really exciting to think about in the past 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think it's obviously like a great sci-fi action movie, but I think it's underrated as like a parenthood movie.
Yeah.
Which is a good transition into our movie draft about parenthood. So let's take a quick break and then we'll get into our draft. All right, we're doing a movie draft here. This is the first movie draft on Video Village. So Priya, thanks for joining me on this one. Because Everything Everywhere All at Once is at its core a movie about parenthood and what it means to be a parent or what it means to be a child, and that exploring that relationship there. We're going to be doing a parenthood movie draft. We have set this up so there are 6 categories that we have to fulfill within our draft. So we can't just draft like a top 5 list. Here are the 6 categories that we're going to be trying to fulfill with our 6 movies each. Comedy, drama, action, horror, thriller. That covers, all of those categories. And I think the reason that one makes sense here is because like parenthood oftentimes makes a lot more sense in a comedy or a drama and not as much sense in like an action, horror, thriller. Okay, and then we have blockbuster, which we can classify as anything that's made $100 million or more at the box office.
Okay. I don't know about
Oscar nominee.
I didn't check, but I'm sure they're blockbusters.
Yeah, we can always double check if we're not sure, but I feel like some of them are kind of obvious,
Yeah.
Oscar nominee is the 5th category. That's any movie that was nominated for any Oscar in any category. So if it was nominated for costume design, it's eligible. And our 6th category is wild card. So that could be anything.
Nice. I'm excited.
Now, I'm going to pitch that even though it's just the 2 of us, we do a snake draft. So if you were to go first, then I get 2 picks and then you get 2 picks, etc.
Yeah. Wait. I think I know how this works, but now I'm getting confused. Explain to me how this works.
You would pick, then I would pick, and then I would pick.
Oh, yes.
Again.
Yes.
And then you would pick.
Yeah.
So basically it's just like 1, 2, 2, 2, 2 until we're done.
That makes sense.
All right. Bria, since you're the guest, I will bless you with the opportunity to go first in this draft.
Okay. So I get to do what? So do I get to pick which category first?
You get to pick any movie and place it in whatever category you want.
Okay, cool. So my first pick is going to be, there's so many choices, but I think I have to pick one. I have to pick one that I think that you would want. There's a lot of weird ones on here that I don't even think you're going to think about. Let's see. I'm going to pick.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to pick Manchester by the Sea for my Oscar nom.
I thought about this one.
Yeah, we'll pick. I figured that's the one that we might have an overlap on. And I really loved that movie. I kind of became obsessed with it in high school a little bit, which is weird. But also, I think it was a clear indication of my mental illness at the time.
I was going to say, that is a really odd movie to become obsessed with. Like, I loved sad movies. This one is like,
it's
sad.
Sad. I know, but
really sad.
17-year-old Priya, she was going through it. I developed like a really intense crush on Lucas Hedges. Lucas Hedges.
Lucas Hedges went to UNC School of the Arts.
Oh, I did not know that.
Damn. Priya, Tumblr, whatever you were on, wasn't doing the research. He's a North Carolina boy.
No, he went to like Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, but he's like older. I was in high school when I had my like emotional run-in with Lucas Hedges. I also really became obsessed with Casey Affleck, and then he got Me Too'd, and I was like, nice.
Yeah. What are you gonna do there, you know? But honestly, a great performance. I gotta give it to him. Like, not the best guy, but he killed it in this movie.
Yeah.
I will say, like, Parenthood as a category for a movie draft is super broad, right? Like, this is a really good example where, like, there's no... Okay, let's try not to spoil the movie, because this can also serve as, like, a way to recommend movies.
Yeah.
There are no kids in this movie, but it is a movie about, I guess, a parent or two parents, and the relationship that he makes with another character kind of serves as that parent-child relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I struggled with picking that one. There were a lot of movies that I chose not to pick because there is like a mentorship or a parent-child-like relationship, but they're not biologically related to each other, or they're not like, they're not parent and child. But I felt like in every way, these two main characters fulfill that like journey that you take with a child, a parent takes with a child when, you know, something traumatic happens. And I love that movie. Maybe I should watch it again. No, I shouldn't. But you should watch it if you're listening.
Priya comes back in a week and is like spiraled into deep depression after watching this movie. It honestly, like, this movie, it came out at a time where, like, I was very okay watching really sad movies in my bedroom, like 2 or 3 in a row, and I would kind of leave like unfazed. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I just love movies, and that was like fine, even though it probably traumatized me.
Yeah.
This was one of the first movies where I was like, I can't hang after watching this movie. It really upset me. And that scene in the middle, you know what I'm talking about, where the truth of the past is revealed.
Yeah.
Is very harrowing. Overall, just like incredible performances. Michelle Williams was also fantastic in this movie.
Oh my god, she's so good. She like, oh my god, the way that she like portrays her sadness is, it's so good.
Yeah, it's great. Good pick, Priya. I did not expect you to pick that first. That's wild, but yeah, it was on my list. All right, I have a lot, and I'm also trying to pick movies that I think you would appreciate. So I'm not necessarily going off like, you know, the best movies ever, but more so just trying to strategize. My first movie I'm going to pick in comedy is The Parent Trap.
I knew you were going to pick this because you told me you were going to pick this.
I did, because I was like, this was me like in the very early stages of planning this podcast, like what defines a Parenthood movie? And it was because I really just wanted to pick The Parent Trap.
You were like,
no matter what we did.
Parent Trap? I was like, yeah, it's your podcast.
I don't know. I thought you were gonna like steal it from me or something. I thought you were gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna snatch it out from under you.
Nah, it's all you.
Okay, well, The Parent Trap is a Nancy Meyers movie starring Dennis Quaid and Lindsay Lohan. And oh my gosh, who plays the mom? Do you know?
Oh my god, no, but I love her outfits. I'm like, I still try to emulate her. Oh my god, who's the mom?
She's Natasha Richardson. Yeah, I don't know anything about her. But anyway, this is like a Disney movie. I saw it a ton on Disney Channel, and so I always thought growing up that it was a Disney Channel original movie, which is not the case. It's like fully a like Nancy Meyers movie that exists outside of the Disney world. Yeah, this movie's just like so charming. Lindsay Lohan really convinced me that there was 2 of her. I thought she actually like was one of a twin when I was a kid.
Yeah, because
her performance is just really good as these 2 twin sisters who kind of hate each other and then become best friends and obviously are sisters. Yeah, just a really charming rom-com and just a really, really great take on like how to be a parent and how to like reconcile something that's broken that you've kind of just like written off, even though like everything's beautiful and everything's perfect. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I don't know. It's just great. I just have a really great relationship with this movie. I want to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it in a long time. Dare I say, like criminally underrated of a movie.
Oh.
Like no one talks about The Parent Trap.
Nobody talks about The Parent Trap. Everybody's talking about Freaky Friday, but nobody's talking about Parent Trap.
Can I be honest? Freaky Friday was on my list, and I'm not gonna pick it because of The Parent Trap. And I was like,
Freaky Friday is also on my list.
Well, I just told you that I'm not gonna pick it, so you can save that for
Nah,
later.
it's fine. I feel like this is the wait, this is the better of the Lindsay Lohan Parenthood movies. So
I agree.
I think you picked the better one. Also excited that Lindsay Lohan is back. She's back in movies. Did you watch that?
No, is she in a new movie?
Yeah, she's like in one of those like holiday Netflix movies. It's her re-entry into movies. And she's opposite that guy from The Princess Bride. You know, the main guy from The Princess. The fact that you don't love The Princess Bride is like, come on. Anyways.
I've watched The Princess Bride.
Yeah, but like,
I can't say I love it.
That's on you. That's a character flaw. Anyways, yes.
Fair.
I love Lindsay Lohan. I'm excited that she's back. My Dubai queen. Oh my God.
She's from Dubai? What?
Yeah, she's like the she's like the biggest marketing strategy for Dubai. Like she lives in Dubai and she posts all the time about how much she loves Dubai. And her husband is from Dubai. He's like a sheikh or whatever.
Today I learned 2 things about Lindsay Lohan. She's back and she loves Dubai.
Yeah. She has convinced me that I need to go to Dubai because she's always like, I love Dubai. There's no paparazzi. You can come on vacation here and not be bothered by paparazzi. Not that I am ever going to get paparazzi, but like I would also love to be like, there's no paparazzi here.
Oh, finally I'm free.
Yeah.
All right, my next movie, I don't know, maybe this is on your list. My next movie is Finding Nemo, and I'm going to pick it in Blockbuster.
That was like the only one I want. I should have picked it first. I didn't think you would pick it.
Oh, I was going to pick it first. It's you got to pick it. I went through all of the Pixar movies, and this is by far the best one about parenthood. Like there's parenthood aspects in a lot of Pixar movies, but this is like really, really a deep, nuanced take at like single parent and kid.
Oh my God.
And
I'm so mad.
Okay. It's beautiful. Yeah, I love this movie. This is top 5 Pixar for me. I have a Pixar ranked list. I'm not going to get into it now because that's going to be its own episode one day.
Pixar ranked list. Wow, you're so cool.
It is top 5 for me. I think it's like number 4. Yeah. Everyone knows Finding Nemo, and rightfully so. It's the best.
I didn't watch Finding Nemo all the way through until I was 15 years old. Because when I watched it when I was a little kid, we went to the movie theater and I couldn't get through it because it affected me so. I was sobbing, crying in the movie theater because I was just like, this poor dad is looking for his kid and I can't deal with it. And so my parents had to extract me from the movie theater. And then I couldn't watch it all the way through until I was like in high school because it was too emotional for me.
And then you would come home from the theater, then just turn on Manchester by the Sea, just be like, some relaxed family viewing to calm the nerves.
Yeah. No, it's actually funny because when I was 15, I watched Finding Nemo. I had to watch it in Spanish class, and so I had to watch the entire thing. And it like really, it started the depression. I watched that movie and I went home, and then I decided I was going to watch Manchester by the Sea. It is so, I have such a difficult relationship with it, but it's so good. It's so good.
Priya, parenthood movies are not happy a lot of the times. I feel like most of the movies on both of our lists are going to be like depression movies for you. Like I feel like you're going to be like, oh yeah. Right to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that one spiraled me for a week.
Yeah, if you bring up Madagascar 3, which I'm not going to think I thought about, that one. No, Madagascar 3 actually caused so many issues, not only in my own mental health, but like I like deflected onto my family. My family still is like, we cannot watch Madagascar.
Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. The one with the circus song?
Yes, that one. I didn't get through the first 15 minutes because I started crying so hard in the movie theater that I had to leave once again. That both Finding Nemo and Madagascar 3, I went to go watch with my friends from when I was a little kid. And my mom was with me because she drove us, and she had to, like, literally take me out of the movie theater. And they gave me my money back both times.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know they could give you your money back. That's kind of fun.
Well, I mean, if you're like a 7-year-old and you're just sobbing, they're like,
oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, it's your pick.
Okay, so since you picked, I have to pick something that you're, okay. I'll do my other blockbuster, and this one is really, it's sketchy. You can tell me that it's not a parent-related movie, and I will allow it. Coco is my next blockbuster.
So I thought about Coco, obviously, because of Pixar. No, I think anything is on the table as long as you can make the case. And then it really is up to, the listeners and the voters at the polls as to how strong of a pick it is. But I'd love to hear your argument because I don't think it's off the table. Okay.
Well, I was thinking that, first of all, there is like some interaction between the main character. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil Coco, but if you haven't watched Coco, like, literally, what are you doing?
Agreed.
There is some interaction between the parent and the child throughout the movie, but I think it is, like, it's like the entire theme is this kid wants to meet his father. And that's like the only thought on his mind the entire time. So even though he doesn't have a lot of interaction with his father, it's like the main driver of the entire plot of the movie. So that's why I chose it. I love that movie. I find nothing wrong with that movie. I think that it's also such a great, depiction of how non-European cultures often have, like, cultural practices or rituals to, like, remember their, family members that have passed. And, in my culture, we have something very similar. And so it was, like, incredible to have that kind of depiction in, like, a big blockbuster Pixar movie. What the hell is that?
Do you own a phone?
No.
Are you in a horror movie right now?
I am not going outside. Okay, anyways, yes. I do love Coco.
Coco's great. I love Coco. I think Coco's at number 6 on my list, but it could move to number 5 in terms of the Pixar ranking. But stay tuned.
No, Coco doesn't beat Finding Nemo, though.
It doesn't. Finding Nemo's at 4. Right now I have Finding Nemo at 4, Up at 5, and Coco at 6. But I think Up could maybe...
Up needs to go down. No way.
I agree. I think I can move Coco to 5. I think Up is slightly overrated. I think the first and last acts are really beautiful, and then the middle is, like, still a fun ride, but doesn't deserve to be a top 5.
Agreed. But anyways, that's a different podcast.
Podcast.
My next pick is for... what are you going to pick? Okay. I'm going to do my action horror thriller, and I'm going to say A Quiet Place.
Yeah, okay. I was going to pick A Quiet Place for action horror thriller.
Yeah.
It's a great pick.
That's, like, the best horror parent movie I've seen as, like, a young adult. I can't really think of another horror parenthood movie that did it like A Quiet Place. I mean, that ending scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but with John Krasinski and his kids, and it's so good.
It is great. I think I actually rewatched this in December over the holidays with my family, and I think the things that I love about it, it's runtime. It's like 90 minutes almost on the dot. Yeah. And it just moves at the perfect pace where you have harrowing moments. It also takes like 20 minutes in the first half to just show you the world and like how it works and like the systems they've set up. And then as soon as you understand that, it's like back-to-back thrills for the rest of the movie. It's just fantastic. And yeah, the core of the movie being that like parent relationship. And when Emily Blunt's like, if we don't protect them. Like, what is it for?
What
or
is it
something
even
like that.
for? Oh God, yes.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
It's a beautiful movie.
I love
It's
it.
also like really touching to know the story of like John Krasinski wrote it based on like his kids. Like he was like, I have kids now. I want to write about them, and then this is the story he came up with. I'm just like,
Yeah.
John, you're breaking my heart. This is
Yeah.
such a sad. I mean, it's great. It's a great movie, but
It's beautiful.
Why is every movie on this list like they're not all sad, but like something about Parenthood movies are so close to the heart that you can like get
Yeah.
emotionally attached to any of these movies so quickly, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, they're my favorite. My dad and I always make fun of my dad for this, but they're my favorite and my dad's favorite movies to watch because I don't know, it's just so, yeah, it's like the most important relationship in most people's or in a lot of people's lives. So,
Yeah, totally. All right, I to your earlier point about horror Parenthood movies, I do have another one I'm going to be taking, but not yet because you already took yours, so I'm not feeling threatened.
yeah.
I need to pick a drama here. And I have one drama on my list I really want to take, but I'm not going to take it because I haven't seen it. But I just like know that I just know that if I watched it, I'd be like, yeah, this is going on the list.
Well,
But
now you just have to tell us what it is.
Well, no, but what if you've seen it and you want to pick it? So I'll let it. We'll do honorable mentions at the end. We'll like
Okay.
go through our list of things that weren't
Okay.
drafted. For drama, I am going to take After Sun, a movie that came out in 2022.
When I looked up Parenthood movies, this was number one. I haven't seen it.
Are you serious? Is that it? Yeah. This movie is it's just like very mesmerizing and very beautiful. It plays with point of views a lot and like so okay, I'll like give a blurb about the movie because it's pretty new. A lot of people haven't heard of it or seen it. The movie is directed by Charlotte Wells. It's her first movie. And it's about a young girl on vacation with her father. And they are recording the vacation on this camcorder that they have. And so they both kind of take turns recording different things with each other. You also get, a lot of shots outside of just the camcorder. So it's not just, a found footage film. But it becomes clear that the daughter is actually in current day is actually grown up and is now an adult, and this is somewhat of a memory of hers that she is piecing together and that we're seeing of this like 7-day vacation. And I'm not going to spoil anything about like I guess how the vacation plays out, but the movie itself is about memory and about remembering your parents, and oftentimes like the memories that you have of your parents are not actually who they were, and so it kind of like presents these two arguments as to who her father was. And it's incredibly powerful because a lot of it you can't really tell what she remembers from her memory and what she thinks is actually the truth, and you're kind of presented both of those images at different times, and it's just really, really thought-provoking. Like, I think like a lot of these movies are like movies that when they end, you feel like you want to call your parents. But this one, really, I was like, man, like this is what it's about. It's like the Interstellar quote when Matthew McConaughey is like, when you become a parent, you're just a ghost for your kids or something like that. That's what this movie is about. That's what this whole movie's about. It's just your parents are a ghost for your kids. Really beautiful. The score is really, really pretty as well. So yeah, just overall fantastic movie. I had a couple others I could have picked for drama, but this one just stood out as something that has touched me very recently, and I think has a very strong place in my heart right now.
Yeah. Well, I need to watch it. I feel like I get a lot of like social media marketing towards this movie. I'm like a young woman in America, so they're like, you need to watch Paul Mescal as a father. So I need to watch it.
Yeah, Paul Mescal is great. I could have picked this an Oscar nominee as well, but I have a couple other picks I'm considering here. Okay, so right now I have The Parent Trap in comedy, After Sun in drama, and Finding Nemo in blockbuster. So I need to fill out action, horror, thriller, Oscar nominee, and wild card. And I have one more pick right now. So this movie was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. And so I will be picking it in Oscar nominee. I'm going with The Royal Tenenbaums, directed by Wes Anderson.
Oh, I've never seen this movie, but I really want to. It's like at the top of the list.
It's very, very good. It's very sweet. I'll just start off by saying that like Luke Wilson's stock in 2001, holy moly, off the charts. He had Legally Blonde in like, I think 2000. Yeah. And then he comes into here with Royal Tenenbaums, and it's just like, I love Luke Wilson. Like, I want to have your babies. He's perfect. Yeah, this movie is really sweet. It basically is about a father who, I guess like the mom of the family has passed away, and the 3 kids are now adults. And the 3 kids were like wonder kids when they were young. Like there was a lot of, they had a lot of potential, quote unquote. And then in their adult lives, they're all kind of not living up to whatever they thought they were going to be living up to. It's a very dysfunctional family. And it basically just follows them throughout this year of trying to reconnect with their father after everything. And it's just it's really funny at times, and it's also very heartbreaking at times, and just very like honest. I think it's my favorite movie by Wes Anderson because it feels like a really small story. Like you get a lot of that Wes Anderson visual flair where like, you have like beautiful shots where things are framed perfectly, but the story it tells is one that's like very easy to grasp and easy to relate to. And a lot of like great performances by everybody. Gene Hackman's in this, Bill Murray, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson. Fantastic movie.
Love it. Yeah, I need to watch it. I feel like recently everything Gwyneth Paltrow is wearing in that movie is back in style. So it's like it's increasing in popularity, and so I've been meaning to watch it.
There you go.
All right. So I guess I have drama, my wild card, and comedy left. So I'll go for, I am not worried about my drama. You're not going to pick it. I'll go for my comedy. So initially I was going to pick Madagascar 3, but I'm not going to pick it because the only parent thing is like in the first 15 minutes, and it's like really, really sad, but...
Because it's in the first 15 minutes, can you talk about what it is? Because I don't remember what it is.
So in Madagascar 3, the main line, what's his name?
Alex, I think.
Alex, yes. Alex, they show Alex getting taken by like poachers or whatever, and sold to the zoo, and they show like the parents like trying to fight for their kid while the kid is being kidnapped. And
you know what's crazy though, Priya, is that like Madagascar 2 is actually a Parenthood movie.
I haven't watched Madagascar 2.
What are you... Priya. Madagascar 2 is about the father. Madagascar 2 is literally about the father of Alex and like them really? Reconnecting. Oh my god. Because Madagascar 2, I'm like, I'm like so shocked that you're talking about Madagascar 3 like this, because I'm like, the second movie is genuinely a Parenthood movie.
Maybe I should watch Madagascar 2.
I can't believe you've only seen the third one. That is so funny to me. Okay,
well, I feel like the other ones came out before my time.
I'm sure they... I don't know.
Okay, they didn't. I thought that it was really emotional and provoking, but I'm not going to pick it. Even though I guess I kind of did, but I'm not picking it. Okay,
what are you going to pick?
Now I have 2 different options, and I'm really struggling. Okay, whichever one I don't pick, I'm going to pick in my honorable mentions, and like, I love. No, there's only one option. I have to pick We're the Millers.
Wow. Okay, I did think about this. I didn't put it on my list, though. That's crazy.
Because... I mean, it's a found family. It's like one of the best found families in movies, if you ask me. And I just love all the comedy. I love how they use the fact that they are playing, a family as like a point of physical comedy. I'm thinking about when Jennifer Aniston made out Will Poulter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I love that movie. It was like the first like adult comedy or like, you know, big kid comedy I got to watch. I mean, I wasn't allowed to watch it. I like, me and my friends just snuck into our home theater and watched it. And I know it was so much fun. My friends and I still watch it. Like, when we hang out, it's just a classic. Everything about it is so funny.
It's really good. I think it should be talked about more in terms of like modern comedy classics because it's great. Did they make a sequel? Because I don't think I've seen it if they have.
No, they didn't make a sequel, and they shouldn't. It's perfect as it is. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen this, the like bloopers from that movie, but almost everything that Jason Sudeikis says in that movie is improv. Like, they didn't, I guess his script was like pretty bare bones, and they were just like, yeah, do what you're feeling. So like all the bloopers are him just like trying out different like, you know, comedic lines, and it's so funny. And the fact that he just improv that entire movie is like incredible to me.
That's awesome. I was not aware of that, but that doesn't surprise me. He's the improv king.
Yeah, he's so good. And then my next choice is going to be in drama, and I'm going to pick Leave No Trace, which I know you haven't watched, but it's so good. Movie, no. It's I think I'm going to look it up. I think it was in 2018. I watched it with my family, and we were all obsessed with this movie. It has Thomasin McKenzie, who is like, I think the biggest name, at least for me, from this movie, and Ben Foster, who I know has done other things, but I do not know them. And it's about this like father and daughter who are like isolated from the rest of the world. It has like a captain. Have you watched Captain Fantastic?
Oh, no, I haven't. I've been meaning to watch that though.
Okay. Captain Fantastic is a great movie, a great Parenthood movie. But it has that same vibe. It's about this father and daughter that live in the woods, and he's kind of raising her in like this alternative education. And yeah, and he just like raises her in nature, and she's like and Thomasin McKenzie plays like this very like inquisitive young girl, and then they kind of get caught by some people from like the city town from in like, I think it's in somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, and they just kind of are trying to evade, like, I don't know, the police or whoever is like trying to find them, because I mean, he's raising his daughter in like a very in a non-traditional way, and it's like such a good depiction of like, you know, a father-daughter relationship, and she's like a tween, early teen, and the kind of like struggles that a 13-year-old girl has, and how, you know, he's a single parent, so like how he deals with them is really beautiful, and I just love it. And I think about this movie a lot. I talk to my dad about this movie a lot. It's incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I know you talked about this recently with me, and so yeah, it's on there. It's on the list. Yeah.
And I'm so sad that it didn't get as much. It did have good critical response, I think, but it didn't get the awardsy, Oscar-y type attention, which is sad. But I mean, who cares? It's still a good movie.
Yeah, that's great. Good pick. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I'm just glad that I'm learning about a new movie today. That's fun.
Yeah.
So I have action, horror, thriller, and I have wild card left. And so I'm feeling good about these last two picks. I'm going to finish strong. Action, horror, thriller. You said when you picked A Quiet Place, you were like, I can't think of another horror movie that deals with parenthood this well. I'm going to one up A Quiet Place. I'm going Hereditary for my action, horror, thriller pick.
I thought about it when you said Hereditary earlier. I was like, oh, wait, that's another one. But I haven't watched it, so.
You haven't seen Hereditary?
It's too scary. I can't do it. I watched the trailer and I got scared. So
Yeah, I think Hereditary is the scariest horror movie I've ever seen, or at least the scariest horror movie experience I've been through. I watched this movie alone in theaters,
oh my God.
which was, I didn't know what I was walking into. I knew it was a scary movie, but I was like, how scary can it be? And I had a friend who I was talking to before, and I told him that I was planning on taking some illicit substances before consuming this film.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. And he warned me. He was like, do not do it. And I was like, why? And he was like, just the subject matter. And I was like, okay, cool. I won't do it. And thank God he told me that, because this movie is traumatizing. If you don't know anything about it, it's an A24 movie. This is Ari Aster's first movie, which is crazy. It's a horror movie. It's about a family going through a traumatic time. The grandma matriarch figure passes away in the very first scene. And that's the first shot of the movie, is the funeral. And some events unfold with the family that end up becoming equally, if not more, traumatic for the family. And you basically are exploring this family's grief. And as that process starts to unfold, some very creepy things start to happen. And I don't know how else I can talk about this movie without just completely spoiling it. So I'll just stop there. But best horror movie I've seen, scariest horror movie I've seen. It talks about grief and discusses grief in a very, very like powerful way. Toni Collette's performance should have been nominated for Best Actress. It's like one of the best performances I've ever seen. The way she like freaks out in this movie at multiple times, and the way she talks to her kid in this movie is just like so tragic and so heartbreaking. And yeah, I think it's a good Parenthood movie, not because it's a good like role model Parenthood movie. Like, yeah, do it just like this. This is the perfect way to do it. But I just think that it explores like the mother-son dynamic really, really well, and even just like the father-son dynamic too, just like parents versus kids. And you start out the movie with that classic, like, I don't want to bring my sister to the party dynamic, and like, you should include her in things thing. And then it very, very quickly becomes something much deeper about, do you even want kids? And do you regret things when you have kids? And having those conversations with your kid and what that can do to your family. Just like really, really, really powerful stuff. You should watch this movie, not alone, but you should watch it with a group of friends.
Yeah. When I used to live with Krupa and Olivia, we would be like, should we watch Hereditary? And then we'd always be like, nah. It's like...
I'm just going to finish it out with a movie that I think is amazing, and people only talk about 1 month of the year, but they should be talking about it more. I'm going with the Will Ferrell classic movie, Elf.
Oh my God, I hate this movie. Okay.
What? Why do you hate this movie?
Okay. Maybe this is opening up my eyes to how like emotionally unstable I was as a child.
Here we go.
But it's kind of the same story as Madagascar 3 and Finding Nemo. I literally was so uncomfortable and anxious during this movie that I was like, Mom, turn it off. I can't watch it.
Priya, you have to rewatch these movies that traumatize you at the age of like 7. You have to revisit them because you're missing out. You're missing out on so much good stuff.
Also, it's disgusting when he eats that spaghetti. I was like, ugh.
This is giving like, I don't like Top Gun Maverick because it's cheesy vibes.
No, it's not. It's the other way around. It's too much for me. It's like too many. It's like too strong of an emotion. It elicits too strong of an emotion from me that I can't watch it. I'll cry.
Sounds like it's just a very emotionally powerful movie with a lot of complicated themes and a lot of depth. It's fantastic.
Okay, tell me why.
If you're like one of those people on the planet Earth who hasn't seen Elf, for the 4 of you out there, this is a movie about a human who, when he's a baby, he sneaks into Santa's bag on Christmas and mistakenly ends up at the North Pole, and then grows up in elf world on the North Pole. And as like an adult, he's like a terrible elf. And so one day he decides that he's going to go back to whatever the human world and like try to find his family. So Will Ferrell as an adult elf wearing an elf costume goes to New York City and finds his father, and they have a really bad relationship, and it's really funny, but it's also really, really sweet. And you have this like emotional core of like James Caan, who was Sonny in The Godfather, which is just crazy, playing like a grumpy old dad who doesn't really pay attention to his kid and doesn't like his job as much because he's just like one of those guys who has lost the love of life and he doesn't believe in Christmas. And yeah, just seeing their relationship grow throughout this movie is really, really sweet. And that's all I'll say. I feel good. I feel really good about my last two picks. Let's hear it, Priya. I want to see how you close this one out.
Well, okay. I have a question for you. My wild card is truly a wild card. It's not in English.
I love it.
It's a Bollywood movie. Is that okay?
Yeah, I had a couple Bollywood movies on my list, but I didn't pick them. I love it. Let's hear it.
Okay, my wild card pick is Dararumpam, which is a great movie about family and about like fatherhood. I love it. Anyways, so it stars Saif Ali Khan and Rani Mukherjee and these like two adorable kids. And Saif Ali Khan is a race driver. He's like a NASCAR driver, which I'm from Charlotte, so I was like, oh my god, NASCAR. And he gets into an accident and loses his like ability to drive a car fast. So he is like on the hunt for a new job, and it has Pursuit of Happiness vibes in that he, is really struggling to make ends meet for his family, but he still, loves his kids and wants them to have, a fun time as a child. So he continues to like create fun activities for them and make life exciting for them, even though behind the scenes, him and his wife are really struggling to provide for their kids. And it's really beautiful. And I remember watching it as a kid and I was like, it's a very like, this felt like a very, it made me think. It felt like a very adult movie. And I think it's underrated. I think that more people need to be talking about Dararumpam. It's a great movie.
Let's get a Dararumpam campaign going, man. Yo, what's that song, Up Till Forever? Is that from this movie?
I don't know. Let's see.
I'm not gonna sing it, but I think it's from this movie. Great song. It was on all my playlists in college. Every pregame I'd be blasting Up Till Forever. Oh man, that's great stuff. Priya, looking at this list, you really closed out with Dararumpam. Like I think in terms of popularity, your movies have a slight edge. Although I don't know, Finding Nemo and Elf and Parent Trap.
Yeah, no, crazy. I think you probably have the more popular movies.
We're gonna put out a poll here. We're gonna post this on social media as a chart that people can vote on. Who has the better draft?
All right. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yes, I do. I'm just gonna like rattle them off. Beautiful Boy is a movie that I've never seen, but I just know that if I watched it,
okay, actually, that movie is really good. It's really good. I was thinking about picking it. I watched it. I did like it, but also, the hype was too much for that movie because that was peak like Timothée Chalamet's like such a good actor era, and so then I was like, ugh. He's not even that good.
You had to zag. You had to zig. Yeah. Everybody was zigging and you zagged. Got it.
Yeah. But it is good. You should watch it.
I had Coraline, the claymation movie.
Oh my god. Mihir, why are you picking all these movies?
I know. These are all like really traumatizing movies that I'm just going through. This movie was on like the top of the list in terms of like harrowing animated movies that kids shouldn't watch until I watched Pinocchio this past year. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. That is now number one in terms of like
that's
kids
not
should
a kids movie though.
But it's Pinocchio. Like I'm sure there's so many families who put it on for the kids, and within like 15 minutes they're like, "This doesn't seem like something I would ever put on for anybody. Why am I showing this to my 4-year-old kid?"
Yeah.
Boyhood, the movie that came out in I think 2012.
Yeah.
This movie, like, yeah, they filmed it over 10 years or something like that, and it's good. I think I was like, okay, it's like good, but I don't want to rewatch it, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't draft it. It could have gone in drama instead of After Sun. That's kind of why I paused when I was drafting it, but I think After Sun just like has the more emotional pull on me right now. Turning Red from this past year, Pixar movie.
Oh my God, so good.
So
I didn't
good.
think about Turning Red. Oh, it's such a good one.
Yeah, I really like Turning Red. Another Pixar movie, Monsters Inc.
No.
I was gonna argue that it's a parent movie because Sully and the little kid. Hear me out. Give me 30 seconds. We start the movie and Sully is like, that's his name, right? Sully?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sully is like, he's focused on his career. He's a top performer. He's working out every day. He's very determined. He's like a little narcissistic in that sense. He's really focused on himself until this little girl comes in. And suddenly he's like, I would drop everything. I don't care about anyone. I don't care about Mike Wazowski. I'm going after the little girl. It's a parent-child relationship,
Okay. I'll give it to you.
I didn't draft it. I would have had to defend it more if I drafted it. My two last movies were the documentary that came out earlier this year called Senior, which is about
Senior?
Robert Downey Jr.'s dad, Robert Downey Sr. I just thought it was a really, really like insightful and not too intrusive of a look at Robert Downey Jr.'s family and his relationship with his dad, and it was just really nice. I recommend everyone see it. It's on Netflix. And final pick was going to be Shang-Chi, like the one Marvel movie that I think you could technically put into a Parenthood category. Maybe there's probably more, but it's just, the main villain is the dude's dad. And so I was like, there's something there. It's not my favorite movie, though, so I didn't want to draft it.
Yeah. Those were good. None of those are on my honorable mentions, so
let's hear it.
Okay, my first one is Life is Beautiful. Have you watched that movie? It's from the 80s.
No, and honestly, I don't think I will just because I know it's going to be really sad. It's like one of those, like, I think I know what it is.
It's a Holocaust movie, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the ending scene where he marches away. And it's like, okay.
But it is sweet. I do like that movie a lot. And my parents love that movie, and so it's like a true parent movie because when we watch it, we all watch it together, which I really love.
Yeah.
Captain Fantastic, which I already kind of talked about, so that was on my honorable mentions. Light of My Life. Have you watched that movie?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's another Casey Affleck movie. It's with him and this little girl who they're like father-daughter, and they are. He's trying to protect his daughter because there's like a disease that's going around that's only killing females, and so and they're like a few years into this pandemic, and so like females have become very marginalized in this alternate universe, and so he's like trying to protect his daughter from the illness and also from like nefarious people that are in society. It's really good. And I watched it with my parents, and yeah, I really loved it. Freaks, you definitely haven't watched this movie because I didn't watch. Okay, so this is like this random movie on Amazon Prime. It's so good. It's about this girl that has like powers, but people in this like alternate universe, if you have powers, then you'll definitely be killed, or you get like sent to this like government like training camp jail thing. And so her dad is trying to protect her, and so he kind of closes her off in this like house, and he's like, don't leave. But of course she's like fascinated with the outside world, so she ends up leaving and causing hijinks. But the really cool part about this movie is that it's like suspenseful because you don't know for a long time in the movie that the main male character is her father, and you don't really understand that her power is that she has telepathy. So sometimes she like sees other scenarios from other places, and she's unable to piece them together because she's like 7 years old. So it's very cool. It's like all from her perspective as a 7-year-old. So like sometimes she gets mad at her dad, and because it's from her perspective, you as the audience believe that he's genuinely a bad person. but she's just mad at her dad. It's incredible. I love the way they filmed it because the whole time I was like, no, he's bad. But then you find out that he's just her dad and he's just taking care of her.
Very cool.
It's a very good movie. Go watch it. It's like on Amazon Prime and nobody has ever talked about it, but I love it so much. I watch it often, actually. Interstellar, which you talked about a little bit.
Oh,
great.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think to draft that
movie.
One. That's actually that should have been drafted. That's a snub. That's a snub.
Yeah, I picked Manchester by the Sea over Interstellar because of my own relationship with Manchester by the Sea. but I think that it's a great movie, and I love Christopher Nolan, but he's like really bad at doing emotional stuff. But I think in that movie he got it. He figured out how to
figured it out.
Yeah, he figured out how to like incorporate those emotional ties and also still be a cool sci-fi movie.
One movie that like I didn't draft, it wasn't even on my honorable mentions because I think at the time I thought about it. It's the first movie I thought of because it's literally my favorite movie of all time. I just was like, is this a Parenthood movie? I'm not sure. It actually totally is, but I'm fine not drafting it because it's going to be drafted on like every list I ever make. It's The Lion King.
Oh yeah, that is a Parenthood movie. It's so good.
It's a Parenthood movie. It's also like literally my number one movie of all time.
That was my favorite movie too for a long time.
It's good, man. It's too good.
Yeah,
it's really
Simba.
It's perfect. What'd you say?
Simba was like kind of my first crush.
Yeah, Nala was my sexual awakening, I think. But I don't think I realized that.
I think I knew that about you. Yes.
You did. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, thanks for drafting with me, Priya. This is really fun. I want to do a lot more drafts, and I'm looking forward to you being on the podcast again in the future.
Yeah, this was so much fun. It's so fun to talk about movies for an hour and a half. Like, I want to do this all the time. I'm gonna go watch a movie now.
Hell yeah. Listeners, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Special thanks to my lovely girlfriend Krupa Patel for the podcast's artwork, and my good friend Kevin Cow for the music that you're listening to now. You can find more of his music on Instagram at Waiguang Beats. Thanks, y'all.